僕ですか?
Tondagosa. This is Kody NOKOLO continuing my interview series with mother-like indie game developers. Today, I'm talking with Fred Brown, creator of Crystal Story Dawn of Dusk, which is out right now. Try it today if you haven't yet.
Hey there, Kody. Happy to have me on here. I'm really appreciated that you gave me this opportunity. I am in the last stages of development now. I was actually up pretty late last night, just going through bug fixes, and I am very excited to be at this point. Just really appreciate you having me on. And
Been a long journey, I'm sure.
oh my goodness, it's been about a couple of years just working on it pretty much every day, and just want it to be probably the best work I've ever done.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. I'll start with the first question. We'll start by talking about the Mother series, since we're here on Mother Forever, and then I'll ask you a few things about Crystal Story. So, first question, where did you first discover the Mother series, and how did you feel during your first experience with it?
My first experience was with Earthbound on the SNES. My uncle actually had a friend at the time. They were both in like elementary school. And this was around probably 97. I want to say his friend let him borrow a copy, play on his SNES. And he really didn't get into the game. I know my uncle played it like here and there. I was over at my grandma's house a lot, and he didn't get super far into it. And eventually, though, he wanted to keep playing it, but his friend, like at school or whatever, it's like, hey, I'd really like to, get this back from you. So he just straight up bought it. And back then, I don't know what he paid. I think it was like $30 or something to buy it secondhand from his friends. And like right now,
Yeah.
I haven't even like paid attention to what the prices are.
Oh,
But it's probably
I don't remember it. Yeah, it's really high up. But
I remember looking like in 2014-ish, and I think it was like 185. So there's no telling.
yeah, I think it's even higher now, I think, especially if you have the box.
Oh yeah, insane. He played it on and off, and then he got kind of bored with it. Then I picked it up like in around 99, 2000, and I fell in love with just the music. I loved the music of the game. I loved the art style. The battle system was super, super fun for me. And I remember around, I think, right when I was in middle school, I was getting into ROM hacks and stuff like that. And I didn't really get too far into it, but I was like super obsessed with trying to hack the game and to see if I could do like almost a total conversion mod of sorts. And I played around with it a good bit. I tried PK Hack and a few other editors and stuff like that. But I kind of just
that's really cool.
shelved it. It was so fun back in the day. I was really getting into like emulators and stuff like that. And I know at the same time I was super duper obsessed with like the whole events going around with Earthbound 64. Like I know like in '05
Right.
they had like the Blue Disc saga on Storm.net.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, is it real? Is it real? And it's like it turned out, I don't think there's anything on those. But I loved Mother 3, Earthbound 64. I played Mother 3, I imported it. I had my mom get it for me like back in '06. Right when I started summer break, I played through the whole game in Japanese before the France translation come out. Like every
Wow.
day I had it like hooked up to our
Yeah.
Game Boy player, and I was just like, I had to walk through on Game Packs. And was just playing through the whole thing in Japanese. But it was so fun. Like I really didn't even care. It was just such a great game. Oh my god,
Wow.
I can just those games, just the amount of influence they've had on me is just it's invaluable. I mean, I couldn't Crystal Story really wouldn't be what it is today without the influence of like Mother and Deltarune, Undertale, and especially Zelda.
Most people have said the first game they've played in the series is their favorite, so I'm assuming you're probably going to say Earthbound, but what do you think is your favorite game in the Mother series?
It started with Earthbound, and I thought it was insanely great. Like, I loved it.
Uh-huh.
And I played a little bit of Earthbound Zero Mother 1. You know, I played it as a ROM.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super difficult. Like, I didn't get super far in that.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of gave up, like, right towards the end. I have to say, though, I have not played the fan translation of Mother 3, but I have to say the original Mother 3. Like,
Really?
I really love Mother 3. Like, I just think, even though I could not understand the story, because, you know, it's in Japanese, I know I can play it translated now, but just like, you can get that connection through what's going on with the characters, the emotion in the game. You can feel it. You don't even need to read the game to understand it. And I think just the way the story is just so much more ramped up. It's got a lot more punch. It's a lot more, you know, a lot darker. And it's just got a lot more emotion in it. I feel like they were kind of getting in that towards the end of Earthbound, Mother 2.
Yeah.
But I feel like Mother 3 was just like, they really, you know, put on the gas.
They stepped it up,
for
sure.
For certain. Yeah. That is the game. It's the best one, in my opinion.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love Mother 3 too. Going on from that, then, what are your favorite characters, songs, locations, or moments from the series, then?
Probably, let's see, I think in Mother 2, probably, you know, Lilliput Step, Peaceful Rest Valley. I just really love, like, the atmosphere of it is just so crazy. Like, in Peaceful Rest Valley, you go and
the music.
It's like
so eerie.
Oh my god! And I think that is probably the earliest area where you start really like encountering like actual, you know, crazy like, you know, extraterrestrial kind of enemies and stuff. Like
I think Earthbound definitely, like, it feels like there's a turn there when you get to Peaceful Rest Valley.
You know, like it's like, well, then you can get like infected with you know, the rambling mushrooms and stuff like not the rambling.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. It's just like it messes your controls up. It really does shift. It's like, all right, now it's, you know, you're done with like pretty much the tutorial mode and you're ready to
exactly.
And they hit you with a lot of stuff at once. Like the enemies in that area.
Yeah.
I feel like are really tough.
Enemies at that part.
But I feel like that's like it's trying to set a shelf, like, all right, if you can get past this, you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like the Elden Ring. I don't know if you played Elden Ring, but the first boss,
I did.
I feel like that area.
Yeah, it's like a gateway.
Yeah.
If you can conquer that, you can conquer the rest, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
It really kind of has like, all right, if you get it with this, I think you'll be all right to finish the game. That is my favorite area. And Mother 3, probably the mansion, the castle. I can't remember the castle.
Osoi.
The Osoi Castle was the direct inspiration for the mansion in Dawn of Dusk. I know a lot of people will probably already figured that out, but it was like, that was the place.
Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of the inspiration there, especially I think there was that swinging mechanic, right?
Yeah, where Mina can turn a lance.
After I saw that, I was like, oh, that's...
I really like, I love that area, and I was like, man, what if I could kind of, you know, borrow some mechanics,
channel that atmosphere.
And just like make it a little bit, you know, creepier, but have it where it's more like interactive. And I feel like that area was a huge inspiration. And I also have like the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time, but the art style in general is very inspired by this movie.
Yeah, I could definitely see that too. It's got its own spin on it though also, so it's really cool. I like it a lot.
I really appreciate it. I worked really hard on trying to make sure it wasn't like super one-to-one, but it's just like borrowed from a ton of different games.
Almost moving on from Mother, but one more thing about the series. We were already kind of talking about this just now. What do you think was the most inspiring aspects of the Mother series in making Crystal Story?
I think with me, it's like, I feel like that family connection, like the personal connection. I don't want to spoil anything for Dawn and Dusk, but you'll kind of see like a connection Mina has with her mother, just in bits of it, and like the whole harkening back to Mother, like, you know, it's not really a game about mothers, but in a way it kind of is. I want the characters to feel like they're people and they interact with other people and they share a, you know, intimacy with these people. And I feel like that is like the thing with Mother is like you're with a group of friends and you're out doing all this stuff and you rely on each other in ways you don't realize. And I feel like that really close, like almost human like quality of the game, despite it being a game, is what makes it so great. And it's like I've tried to be inspired by that when I was working on Dawn of Dusk. I really tried to break the writing out a lot more and just, you know, get more confident in my abilities and what I could do to tell a story.
Yeah, that's really great. So you were a part of the community on starmen.net. What was the first impression of that community when you first found it?
I loved starmen.net. I was on there right around 2004. I didn't post a lot. I had an account. I don't even remember the username. But I lurked it a good bit. The forum culture
Yeah, I
to
did
me,
the same thing.
it was just so good. I mean, the people there were so helpful and friendly. I've caught up with a few people that were on there back in the day, but I mean, I really miss the whole forum culture and just like the sense of community and family that was on starman.net.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of great things to say about it, a lot of great people running it. You know, it's just a lot of the whole like philosophy I have around the internet. It was just back then, it was just such a great like new place, and not many people had the internet or respected it like we have with social media. And it's just everything is just so conglomerated into like so many like 3 sites. But back then it was just like you could find something you were into. And I was in Earthbound and Mother, you know, starman.net, that was the site to go to. The forums were the place to hang out. Like I remember just a ton of stuff. I know, you know, Toby Fox got his start on there. I lurked on there, but I didn't do much. But I loved just reading all the posts and learning about computers. I learned so much stuff on there. Like all the other boards too.
There's so much to learn about hacking different games, Earthbound and beyond. Like I used to be into Pokemon hacking, game hacking on different forums too, and PK Hack was popular for the Earthbound hacking scene too. There's like so much you could learn about games on the internet back then that was all in its own places, and nowadays it's more just it's more kept on social media, I guess. Kind of separated from those original communities, but still all on one site. It's weird now.
It's so weird.
It's not exactly the same as it was before.
Back in the day, if you had the patience, oh my goodness, you could learn so many things and reach out and talk to so many people on the forums. It was great. I have fond memories.
Yeah, it's a great time back then. I remember you mentioned Toby Fox too. If there's anything I learned from talking to a lot of different people in these interviews, it's that there are a lot of people who are inspired by Mother that were on starmen.net too. It's interesting to see and hear from people that have been around in that community and got their start there. It's interesting. Do you have any favorite experiences in that community or in the Mother community in general?
I think one of the things I was super into is like Steve Campos. You know, he's got a pretty big role in Fangamer, co-founder and whatnot. I know this isn't really Mother related, but I know back in the day on Stormin.net, they had like a Photoshop thread where I want to say it was Steve just like putting himself into like Photoshop pictures. They were hilarious. He did like compilation videos when YouTube was super new. And oh my gosh, they were so funny. I know, like, people would just be like, Steve, people would just give him a prompt and he would just, like, Photoshop himself doing something. He did just a lot of the community things that were just, like, hilarious like that. I was really into, and just, like, Oh man, I remember going on a lot of the tech boards and stuff like that too. I went on a lot of mother related boards on there, but also just
Yeah,
like I hung out there for a time. Like all that was all I
yeah.
did on the internet when I was really young.
Yeah, I used to go on there too, and I wouldn't really interact very much, but I would read a lot of the stuff on there.
It was awesome. Some of that stuff was just really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much history there. I just wanted to ask one thing about Mother 64, which you mentioned before. Do you have any strong opinions on Mother 64? And you probably were like you were around for the Blue Disc Saga and
Oh
other
yeah.
things like that. What was the feelings that you had around the game during that time? Also,
I loved Mother 3 on the Game Boy Advance, but part of me
yeah,
longs and hopes for the day that we will finally find a beta of it or something else. Like
something.
even
Yeah,
recently, I have kept an eye on everything. Like I see a lot of really cool like fan recreations and stuff, but part of me just that longing. I really want them to find the game. It's like I know it exists out there. I just don't know when we're going to find it. And I feel like it can drop at any moment. I really would like to see what was all scrapped. I really would like to see what their vision was for a 3D like Mother game. It's like the battle system, is a lot. It was really different. And I've read so many interviews of people that went to like Space World and tried it out, and there were just so many cool ideas, and they were still really trying to figure the game out. But it's just everything. I've been obsessed with that game for almost 20 plus years. Like it's just I still think
yeah,
about it to this day. I think
yeah.
about it.
It's such a mystery.
Oh my goodness. They
I
will
wonder
haunt
where it
me
is
to
out
the
there.
rest of my days until they find it.
Maybe someday, hopefully,
Hopefully,
it's in a bin somewhere in Japan or
I wouldn't
beyond.
doubt it. There
Who
was,
knows?
I hope this isn't getting too far away from it, but I heard that there was someone that I think was helping with debugging. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was an American employee.
Yes.
And he said that they had the game in like a break room or whatever, and they were just like, yeah, look at
That interview I think was with the developer that was in Brownie Brown,
yeah.
and I'm pretty sure, and yeah, that they
It
were
was
using they
a,
were using a copy of the game to test stuff, so there is one out there.
it's like you could have got some pictures of your flip phone or something back then. I would have just been like, oh my gosh. I was just so like, it was there, it was right there.
Moving on from a lot of the directly mother related stuff now, well, let's move on to Crystal Story. So, what were your expectations when you first started working on the game? And at this point now, close to the end, what are your expectations of it at this point? Like, how does it differ from the things you had in your head at the very beginning of development?
Well, one funny thing is when you get really good, like not trying to brag or anything, like if you get better at making something, making a game, making art, whatever, it's kind of like
Right.
I call it scope creep, where you start
Yes.
getting like, all right, I can do this. Well, heck, I can probably do this. And
Right.
Crystal Story Dawn of Dusk, I started development on that like the very super early stages after doing Crystal Story Awakening, and I go back and look at that game now, and it's so buggy, but I spent a whole year learning Game Maker after not really touching it for around 15 years. I was like, all right, I'm
Right.
gonna have to just like learn how to do everything. I
Yeah.
started out that Crystal Story was a webcomic, and I was like, I don't know how to do games, but I know how to do art kind of
Yeah.
good. So I just
Right.
I learned how to program and a lot of the basics down, and like I tried my hardest and got Awakening out in 1 year, and it's just like I took the knowledge I had with Awakening and I got into Dawn of Dusk, and there was a lot of growing pains. There was a lot of stuff I just did not know. There's stuff that I will continue to learn, of course. But just, I had a
Right.
very low scope. I was like, all right, this is going to be way short. It's going to be a lot shorter. It's not even going to probably be as long as Awakening. I just like, I really need to wrap, where that story left off and try something else. And then I just started
Yeah.
really getting into, just like, oh, heck, I can do this now. Look, I got like a mode 7 like flying thing working in there. And
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
it was just little things like that really kept me motivated, just figuring out
Yeah.
how to build systems and also just like polishing, Nina's moveset and moving around and just doing things better, and also just a constant stream of, projects coming out that I could just pay attention to. It just kept rolling
Right.
and rolling. I'm so happy to be where I'm at with it now. But I'm also kind of upset because it's like, it's like, man, I'm almost done. It's like you're kind of winding down. And it's just like that
Yeah.
high you get from just working on something and just making it
Oh, I
so
know that
fun.
feeling. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I can't, I know I need to take a break, but I really want to get into something else.
Yeah. Gradually, I've been working on my own game too, and like as the momentum builds towards me finishing more for that, so I can finally get like a demo out for it. I feel the same thing where I'm like, okay, I just want to keep working on it more and more now, because as I keep refining things, I'm like, oh, I can fix this and this and this. And I can do this.
Exactly. Like I'll go in one day and just like, oh, I'll just fix this today. And then it's like, oh wow, it's 6 p.m. and I fixed like 20 things.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Were there a lot of times during development where it was difficult to get motivated to do things? And is there anything in particular you do to motivate yourself to work on the game if you're not so motivated?
I get asked this a lot, and the best advice I have is like, I feel like when the pandemic really started, like it really took off at the beginning of 2020 around April, my motivation was like, it was completely gone. I am not even going to be, like, I'll be totally upfront. Like, I was like, I'm just going to not work on the game anymore. I was like, honestly, like, I'm just going to quit working on it. Because it was just so hard when I have, depressive, like, I've had depression on and off for a long time. And it's like when
Right.
you get really down into like the rabbit hole of thinking negatively and not really actively doing something to get your mind off of it, it'll just get worse. And I found out what got me motivated was just like, if I didn't want to work on the game, I would just open up Game Maker, launch the game, and just start playing what I had done or played Awakening. It's like, oh wow, like I can, like then I started getting like, well, this isn't too hard. Like I can do a few small things to make me happy, like little graphical things or just fun little neat things. Like I know when around the summer of 2020, I added this area called the Matterhorn Woods, and it's like, all right, Mina can like burn apples and burn trees down and collect apples and stuff. And I started playing. I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then it's just like building little things and just getting your mind off of how you're feeling like negatively and putting it into something constructive and easing into it. You kind of forget about, like the horrible stuff you're thinking about, and you can really get into a project. It's just like watching, people play through Deltarune and Undertale. Like I just look and see what Toby did, and it's just, oh, this is so amazing. And then it's like, man, I want to open up Game Maker and, start working on something. And then that helped a good bit. Always trying something out and just like playing something you've already done or looking at art you've already done and like, oh man, I could just think this in real quick. And then you'll just end up making the whole thing in because you're like, hey, that ain't too bad. Your motivation comes
That's right.
back. And like, what was it? Like one funny thing I get asked too is like, how do you like work on something so big? It's like you put it into small, bite-sized pieces.
Got to do something small.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
If you need something to work on, like, all right, I need to make this game, get the little pieces. Like, all right, well, I can get speech boxes to work, and then I can get sword swings to work, and just breaking a huge task into little bites keeps you motivated. It keeps you really happy.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to go about it too. I've been kind of trying that strategy with working on my own game, and I'm like, it feels a lot more fulfilling than trying to do like a big thing all at once. Just doing a lot of smaller things and build up the momentum. Split it up into small things. It's some really good advice to people who need it.
Anybody can do it. You just gotta have the patience.
When it comes to anything else about Crystal's story, was there anything else you wanted to mention related to it?
Yeah. First off, like all of those that have followed me, and just everyone that's just checked out the project and tried it out and just has stuck with me for so long, I really appreciate it like that. The people that have looked at the project and tried out Awakening and tried the demo out and just retweeted and liked stuff, that is a debt that I will never be able to repay in my entire life. It's just the amount of people that have supported the project and said so many nice things about it and said so many nice things to me. And it's like, I've got a plan on where I'm going to be going with the game after this one. Like, I've already got it planned out. I haven't done super, writing or anything like that. But it's like, I'm ready to get started on it shortly after releasing Dawn of Dusk. And I just hope that those that get to try it out, like, I really hope that you enjoy it. And I hope, it meets your expectations. And I hope it maybe even exceeds them. And I just hope anyone that tries it out, I just hope they have a lot of fun. I hope, most importantly, this inspires folks out there that want to try something new or to make a game. Like, all I have to say is the only thing, if you need help with art and stuff and music, whatever, there are people that will help you with that. But the biggest resource that I've spent is time. Time is money, but time is also free. Anyone can do it. You just have to put the time in and take your time and don't burn yourself out and just see how far you can have fun with it. Anybody can do it.
That's right. And I can tell you right now, a lot of the work you've done and I've seen from you has inspired me. So you've already inspired one person with your work.
Anybody can do it.
As I make my game and Game Maker, I'm thinking I see your stuff sometimes and I'm like, that's so cool.
I always try to retweet and just share things too, but right when I first got like basic stuff working, because it's like a lot of people think, oh wow, this project, looks so finished and like polished, but it's like you gotta look back, like 3 years ago where I started.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. It takes a long time to get there, but if anyone can stick with a project for over a year or at least a year, I think you can finish anything. It's just such a great thing to be able to be motivated to finish something, and I'm so happy to hear that I've inspired others to do the same, because anybody can do it. It just takes the patience and the love to what you're making. If you love what you're making, you're going to make it. That's all there is to it. You'll see it through.
That's great advice. That's so true too. Even if it takes a while, you'll eventually make it to the end.
Yeah, because all you're spending is time. And we all have limited time in this world, but time you spend making something you enjoy is probably some of the most well-spent time of your entire life.
You'll always have that thing you make forever after that.
Yeah, and everybody else can enjoy it too.
One more question to end it all off. Do you think maybe in that future project, a lot of the Mother influence you've had, like you've had in Crystal Story, will continue into that one too?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the influence from Mother and Zelda and Undertale and stuff. That stuff, all that is here to stay. I've got all the systems figured out. I've got, just how the engine's set up. I've really fallen in love with how the mechanics have really come together, and just I feel like the flow of the gameplay is really good. So I'm definitely, as well as the writing and visual style, if it ain't broke, I'm not gonna fix it. I've enjoyed it. If it could just be even better, that's all I'm after.
That's great. Well, you heard about this game a lot already. You should go try it if you haven't. It's Crystal Story Dawn of Dusk. And thanks again, Fred Brown, for being here to talk about it.
Thank you
It's
so much.
been a long time in the making, and I'm so happy to see it almost at the end now.
Thank you so much for having me, Cody. I really appreciate it. And I hope,
Thank you.
us talking has inspired a lot of folks that, you and I, like, we're both making something in our spare time. I hope this inspires other folks like, hey, you can do it. If you want to do it, just take your time and do it. It doesn't matter if it's a game or art or a book. It doesn't matter. Just
Anything.
do it.
That's right.
There ain't nothing holding you back.